Rarin, I've got a fun video for you today. I'm gonna need you to forget that Tearlament ever existed, because I'm going to be showing you. Actually, I should ask you a question. Do you like dragons?
Are you setting me up for a D's nuts jokes?
We'll see.
Yes, I like dragons.
Do you like Hearthstone's dragons? Are they fun? You're gonna get to see today some of Yu-Gi-Oh's dragons. This is the point in the game that a lot of people felt power creep was getting to the point where it was like there was a general like shift in how Yu-Gi-Oh was. Ironically, right after these cards, they actually reset the format in a way that was like a lot slower, which is kind of ironic. But this is like the precipice of power in 2014, 2013. So kind of put your Yu-Gi-Oh 1 hat on and think about like you've seen some of the really old cards and kind of compare it to like the power level of the cards you're going to see today. So as always, you're going to be looking at the cards and you have to rate if these cards got banned, restricted, or they are totally fine at 3. And here is your first card.
Okay. Oh, buddy, that is text. Okay.
This is the first time they put like this much text on a card, I want to say.
Let me ask you. Hold on, I gotta double check here. What was the most recent like main mechanic they added? Just so I understand the context.
Mechanic? Here. What do you mean
like
mechanic?
There's like the XYZs.
Oh, sure. So we only are at XYZs, and you're gonna see a few of those. So we have synchros and we have XYZs. We don't have any of the other stuff. So it's a much simpler time.
Okay.
I will also let you know, I know you're staggered from seeing all the text. Most of these cards I'm going to show you basically have the same effect, but it's like slightly different. So that'll help you out in terms of reading.
Okay, and this was the best deck during this era?
This was what people considered to be maybe one of like the top 5 decks in Yu-Gi-Oh history. Yes.
What the hell? But
this was like the Tearlament before Tearlament existed 8 years prior, or like 10 years ago.
Is this better than the last one you showed me? I'm trying to remember what the hell it was called. Hold on.
The Kashtiras?
Yes.
No. You'll see why. Okay. Again, remember, this is 2014. We're not nearly at the crazy power level we're at now.
You know, it's interesting though. I think about it like in Hearthstone. Grim Patron Warrior, I think, may have a chance to be playable currently with like the buffs that they did. Yeah, I think it would be
good.
Grim Patron Warrior was the best deck in the game during 2015. It wasn't even close.
Would still be the best deck if it's playable today.
This is why I say this. Have I shown you Grim Patron? I've shown you Grim Patron, right?
Yeah. The guy that like when he damages, he summons like a copy of himself. Right?
So basically, like over the years, they've made like buffs. There was an expansion called the Caverns of Time, which basically was for a twist format where they included older Hearthstone expansions into this format. And to make sure that older cards were playable, they did like buffs to these older cards. So for example, cards like Emperor Thorson, which was at the time a 6 mana 4/4. At the end of your turn, reduce the cards in your hand by 1 mana.
I remember that card. That card was crazy.
That card was very good. Now it's 5 mana in current Hearthstone because of that buff. So I'm thinking like if they brought Grim Patron back, there is a chance that it would actually be a very playable deck in the current Hearthstone.
That's crazy to think. That's
why I asked, because like there's some expansions where I think like they just really dropped the ball where how much powerful it is, but honestly it's like nostalgia and like it's hard to remember exactly what the hell is going on. Also, I feel like you could probably attest this as well. Hearthstone players got better as the game got older.
Yeah.
So like we had classic format a while. This is completely off tangent from dragons, by the way, so whatever. We had a classic format reintroduced to the game. It was kind of interesting to see how people like were playing differently with the cards that we only had during classic, because we were like completely different players now, right? So maybe dragons are good, but we'll see. Okay,
that's what's cool with Yu-Gi-Oh about like GOAT format or Edison format, which are our retro formats, because you look back to how people played these formats in 2005 or 2010 respectively, and we played like apes. And now it's like so refined, and it's like like evolution even still continues in these formats as people go back with like modern deck building philosophy and such, that they are played. So like you can look at the top 8 deck lists like in Edison format from like the Edison New Jersey event, and I want to say none of those decks get played in like modern Edison that like people play today, because that's like how like just deck building has changed and how like the game has changed. But I know you're stalling because you're intimidated by the big wall of text I just presented in front of you. So
how's your day going, by the way? You good?
Read the fucking card.
Okay. Blaster Dragon Ruler of Infernos. If this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can banish a total of 2 fire and or dragon type monsters from your hand and or graveyard except this card. Special summon this card. Wait, you can do that from your hand or graveyard. Okay. During your opponent's end phase, this card was special summoned. Return it to the hand. You can discard this card and one fire monster to the graveyard and then target one card on the field and destroy that target. If this card is banished, you can add one fire dragon type monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn and only once that turn.
So to help you out with that last line of text there, basically you can only use one of the effects of him to do that. So you can either choose to like pop something, or you can choose to, when it's banished, like get something. You can only use one of the effects on the card, period.
I think that's the first time I've ever seen that on a card.
Yeah, so you get like this like modal effect, but you can't use, this is how you know it's on a Yu-Gi-Oh! 2 card, because this is Yu-Gi-Oh! 2, you could use all the effects in the same turn. But yeah, they did have that restriction. I think this may have been one of the first instances where they used that type of restriction.
Okay, hold on. Let me just go through this like line by line. So you could banish two fire and or dragon type monsters from your hand or graveyard. Okay, so hand sucks. Graveyard's fine. Special summon this card during your opponent's end phase. If this card was special summoned, return it to the hand. Okay, so just so I'm clear, you can't special summon this on your opponent's turn, or can you?
No, you do it on your turn. It would stick around, hypothetically, unless you do something with it, which you might see later. And then, if it's still around during your opponent's end phase, it does bounce back to your hand. There are some cards that could resurrect it, like on your opponent's turn, for instance, but I wouldn't say that's, like, super common.
It's also pretty, like, that's interesting. So you want to get this in your graveyard? Because you never really want to do this in your hand, I'm going to assume. You're only popping one. God, you really should have showed me this first, because now, like, you're right. I can't forget, like, what you showed me already.
That's why I think it's more interesting, because I started at the end and I'm working backwards.
This is kind of booty, like, considering all the other stuff you showed me. Because it's 2 for 1 to destroy that target, and you also have to go through like marginal round of like resources to get there. Card is banished, you get 1.
Well, remember, you can still special summon him. You just can't do the banish effect if you use the pop effect.
Card is banished, you can add 1 fire dragon type monster from your deck to your hand. That's also fine. You want me to rate this? So was fine, limited, or
well,
banned?
I'll show you. You know what? Let's do it this way. I'm going to show you all of what we call the daddy dragon rulers first. So here is
the daddy dragon rulers. Okay.
It'll make sense momentarily why we call them that.
Blaster the Tempest, dragon ruler of the storms. If this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can banish a total of 2 wind and or dragon type monsters from your hand or graveyard, except this card. Special summon this card during your opponent's end. Okay, so this is like almost the exact same thing, but now
it's almost the exact same, except he's wind instead of fire.
During your opponent's end phase, if this card was special summoned, return it to the hand. You can discard this card and 1 wind monster to the graveyard and add 1 dragon type from your deck to your hand. If this card is banished, you can add 1 wind dragon type monster from your deck to your hand, and you can okay.
So you're starting to see the similarities here. The only thing that really changes is they each have a unique effect. Blaster in this instance pops a card. Tempest in this instance searches a card. So like that's the biggest differentiator. Everything else is the same. It just applies to their respective attribute.
And is there only 2 of them, or is there 1 for each one?
There are more of them, as a matter of fact. Here's your third one.
Okay. Title: Dragon Ruler of the Waterfalls. Card is in your hand or graveyard, you can banish a total of 2 water. Is this the same thing but with water?
Yeah, it's the same thing with water. You can skip to the middle if you want to get to the actual effect of this card.
During your opponent's end phase of this card, a special summon returns to your hand. You can discard this card and 1 water monster to the graveyard. Select 1 monster from your deck to the graveyard. Card is banished. You can add 1 water dragon type monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use title. Yep. Okay, so is objectively title just the best one? Let me double check on win here.
Well, there's one more.
Well, actually, they're all kind of the same. Okay. Redox, Redox. Look at this thing. What the fuck? Damn, that's a dragon. Dragon ruler of boulders. All right. If this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can banish a total of 2 earth and or dragon type monsters from your hand / graveyard, except this card special summon this during your opponent's end phase. If this was special summon, return to your hand. Discard this card and 1 earth monster to the graveyard, then target 1 monster in your graveyard, special summon that target. Okay. If this card is banished, you can add 1 earth dragon type monster from your deck to your hand. Okay. Wait. So are you running all of these in the exact same deck?
So yes, and at multiple copies, as a matter of fact. So let me give you some context here. So you read that all of them require you to banish 2 of their respective element or dragons, and keep in mind they're also all dragons to bring them out. Then they each have their respective effect. Blaster pops a card. Tempest can search any of them. Title can dump any card to the graveyard, which conveniently you can special summon them from the graveyard. And Redox can revive them from the graveyard. And then they all have the ability that if they get banished, which conveniently is how you summon them, they can search for any dragon of their respective attribute to add to your hand. So this was a time where Notably, light and dark have been like the most supported attributes in the game. We call them chaos because there's chaos monsters that like require lights and darks. And so I think this was Konami's attempt to shift away from that being like the best way to play the game and focus more on like the other 4 attributes, which are earth, water, wind, and fire in this instance. So we call these the elemental dragons.
Kind of like the last one you showed me. This is all nice, but what does it build towards?
You'll find out. You'll get there.
Okay.
You need context?
Yeah, again, if I have to like the lip, God, this is gonna. Dude, I'm having fucking PTSD for the last one. Where it's like, I thought it was so smart with my banning and. Okay, it's fine. No, this will be fine.
Where do you feel like? Where are you at with these for now? We can put a pin in this.
Redox probably looks.
You think these are all fine?
Yeah, they all look fine. If I had to pick the best one, it might be Title or Redox, but
okay, sure.
It's really hard to tell because it depends on what they're building towards.
What was also really cool about the Dragon Rulers is that they didn't like lock you into a certain archetype. So decks that were like earth focused or water focused, for instance, like would play Redox and Title and not play like the other dragons because like they synergize with the deck, right? Like Redox is a reborn effect, right? So it's like it's still pretty good to play if you play like a high density of like earth monsters, let's say. So that was the cool part. Like most people were playing all these in the same deck, but there were later on other decks that would just play like one of them because it's like, oh, I'm playing a water deck. I'm going to put Title in there because it's like Title's a good card. So let's move on. We showed you the daddy rulers. Here are the baby rulers. That's why they're the daddies.
Dragon Ruler of Sparks. You can discard this card and add 1 dragon type or fire monster. Special summon 1 Blaster Dragon Ruler of Infernos from your deck. You can discard this card and 1 dragon type. Okay, so this is redundancy to find the Blaster. Okay, can I attack this turn? You can only use the effect of this once per turn. Okay.
So I will let you know without showing you. There is a baby of all of the 4 dragons I showed you before. So they all have the same effect, except they get their respective dragon.
Okay.
Just to save you reading 3 cards, you're welcome.
Okay, I thank you. I appreciate it. You can discard this and 1 dragon fire type monster, but that has to be on board. 1 dragon type or fire monster on board.
No, from your hand.
Oh, okay, sure. Sorry, it would have been sacrificing if it was on board. Yeah, okay.
Correct, correct. Yeah.
Okay, so this is to draw your respective dragon, and you're putting cards into your graveyard, which is good. So you can kind of just use the blaster and or whatever dragon you're looking for immediately because of how this
hypothetically. Yeah, so you could go like Burner, pitch it, and another dragon to bring out Blaster. And now you have 2 dragons in the graveyard, so if you pitched a dragon. So you could banish those 2 dragons to summon one of your other dragon rulers and have 2 dragons on the field, just with a very simple play pattern there.
Okay. Still
think that's fine?
I think Blaster is not as much of a problem, but Burner might be the bigger issue because it's the consistency, right?
Interesting. Okay.
I don't like the way you say that, but I think my logic makes sense.
I can't spoil everything. That's
fair. Okay.
You're intrigued, huh? Let's show you some more cards. What do you think about this card?
I've seen that card before.
You have seen it before.
Very prominent art. Card destruction. Both players discard as many cards as possible from their hands, then each player draws the same number of cards they discarded. Okay, so that is what? To put the dragons and stuff in your graveyard so you are able to actually use the effects of these individual dragons. That card seems very good.
Do you think that got hit?
So I'm gonna try to metagame this a little bit more. For
okay, all right, go ahead. Try to mitigate this.
If I was current Yu-Gi-Oh, would I not play this card? Isn't this card insane? I'm thinking big year. Hold on, I'm really trying to wonder. Like in Hearthstone,
I could tell.
In Hearthstone, this card isn't playable because I don't have a graveyard, or like the same way you guys use it. So that makes that worse. But in Yu-Gi-Oh, if you like what we've said before, graveyard is your second hand. That seems like it'd be super powerful. You also get like weirdly, you get information from your opponent's hand as well because you know what's sacrificed into the graveyard or discarded into it. That seems pretty good. It seems like if it interacts with the dragons as well to give you like additional resources to pull or do stuff from each dragon, like seems pretty decent.
Well, hypothetically, right? If you have card destruction and 4 dragons, you card destruction, discard them all, draw 4 new cards, and now you have hypothetically fodder to summon 2 dragons immediately.
Yeah, that seems pretty good.
Is it fine?
Dude, that's a tough one. Like, it's I don't think it is fine. I think that card's pretty gross.
Okay.
How many cards do you start with your opening hand? 5?
But you wouldn't draw. You'd only draw 4. Yeah, because you don't count the card destruction. Yep.
Okay. I'm thinking that might be limited because I think the opening might be too good.
Okay, so you think card destruction is limited.
Okay.
I'm gonna put a note here for now. Okay, you can go back and change your evaluation later on. What do you think about this card?
The way you said that reminded me of, you ever taken a test and your teacher walks by and goes, "Everyone make sure you read the question."
Yeah.
Super rejuvenation. Okay. During the end phase of the turn this card was activated, draw a number of cards equal to the combined number of dragon type monsters you discarded or tributed from your hand or your side of the field this turn. Whoa. What's the icon next to the spell card there? What is that? That's not like
that continuous. Is a quick play, so that means you could hypothetically do it on your opponent's turn as well.
Okay, so if I go card destruction and I theoretically have 4 dragons in my hand, and then I have super rejuvenation, I could draw an additional. What's the max? You don't have a max size in Yu-Gi-Oh for hand size, right? You do.
We do. It's 6.
Oh, is it actually? Wait, how come? Was it Master Duel? Maybe it was against tier limits where like I felt like my hand was so big I had to like legitimately scroll through my hand.
I mean, you can have a bunch of cards in your hand, but at the end of your turn, you have to discard down to 6.
Okay, so you wouldn't want to do this necessarily on the end of your turn. You would want to do this on the end of your opponent's turn. Maybe. I mean, actually, I guess it really doesn't matter as long as you're getting to what you need to do on the board. So it actually might be. I mean, that just seems like an objectively pretty good card in this.
Okay.
You're discarding a lot. It's only dragon types. Oh yeah.
But I mean, hypothetically, if you look at the rulers and the daddies, assume you're playing 3 of all of them. You have 24 dragons in your deck already if you're playing 3 of everything.
Yeah, I'm also just trying to think about like, so pot of greed is 1 for 2. This is technically like 1 for like a billion.
Yep, pretty much.
So, I mean, if they're banning pot of greed just because of how good that is, and you could run 3 copies of this, like you're probably drawing through your whole deck in 1 turn, depending on what your opening hand was. That feels like it would not be pretty like balanced.
Not to mention, if you go to end phase and discard for hand size, you're just putting more dragons in the graveyard for fodder for the next turn.
Yeah, have you showed me any? You haven't shown me a single card that can activate in my opponent's turn yet, right? I don't know if that's.
I have not.
Okay,
I will let you know. Remember, we're in like the middle of Yu-Gi-Oh! Essentially, like we're like 10. 11, 12 years in. Quick effects on the opponent's turn were not as common as they are now, where it's like every card has a quick effect. So I'll give you that like little piece of information just to help you out a bit.
Okay.
It was like trap cards and quick play spells, and maybe every now and then you would have something that was a quick effect on the opponent's turn. But for the most part, every card was on a quick effect during this time. Like every card was typically like you played it on your turn, unless it was like a trap or a quick play spell. Exact. There was a couple hand traps during this time, only a few though.
Maxi wasn't in the game yet?
Maxi was in the game at this point, actually.
Was it played?
It was.
Oh god, man, it's been in the game for that long and still cooking. That's
it was
ridiculous.
Printed in 2011. I want to say it is very old, actually.
Okay.
And we're still dealing with it on Master Duel. It's great.
Super Rejuvenation seems like a very good card. So
okay.
They would have to probably limit that.
It's a very old card for context.
So dragons were very prominent when this card was released then. And then they're like, we need to, when all these dragons came out, then obviously it became a lot better.
Yeah. So in the set it was released in, it was, the set had like sort of like 3 different like tribal themes. So it's like there was fiends, warriors, and dragons. And so I think that's a fair assessment that, the dragon support back then wasn't nearly as good as it is now, let's say.
Yeah, you weren't running this in like your Blue Eyes White Dragon deck?
No.
Okay. Or Blue Eyes. Was Blue Eyes
White Dragon was not good until like 2017.
He didn't even see play in the dragon deck.
So funny enough, he actually did see play in this deck. It wasn't like common, but you could play Blue Eyes in this deck if you wanted to. Yeah, I don't want to get super into it, but you could play it in this deck.
What is the reason to play Blue Eyes? Isn't he just like a 3,000 attack monster?
Give this a quick read.
The White Stone of Legend. If this card is sent to the graveyard, add 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon from your deck to your hand. Okay, so
it basically is a way to get more value out of you like pitching cards for these dragon effects, right? So it was a level 1 tuner. So if you wanted to play level 8 synchros because the dragons are level 7, you can go either one of the babies, you could discard it and another card to summon out the ruler. You can normal summon your White Stone of Legend, and you make a synchro play for a level 8 monster, hypothetically. So there was actually utility for playing this and Blue Eyes in your deck. And Blue Eyes is another dragon, so right, you could just pitch it for an effect of Burner or any of the babies or the daddies and just special summon one of the dragon rulers. So it was a free card, basically, which is why people played it. So like I said, it wasn't super common, but some people did.
Blue Eyes White Dragon is just basically in the deck for fodder. Like he's just...
Essentially, yeah. Like, there were also, like, rank 8 monsters in the Xyz pool that you could play, but that wasn't, like, super common.
I mean, I feel
it was
bad
mainly
for
just for the fact that, like, it mitigated the cost of playing the rulers was the main thing.
I feel bad for Blue Eyes. That still sucks, but whatever.
Yeah. Hey, he had his moment. He won the world championship in, like, 2017, so he had his moment. They had to give him, like, the fucking most broken support ever for him to do that, but they did.
Has Dark Magician ever won?
Nope. Dark Magician always sucks and always will. Although, I say that at the time of recording this, they announced they're releasing more Dark Magician support, and it looks fucking broken as shit. So maybe I'll stand corrected when that happens.
Good. I was gonna say that's kind of rude. They would focus on like one of them, but not the other one. Okay. Sorry,
And Blue Eyes has always been better out of the two. Like, just historically, that has always been the case. It's like not even close.
Yeah, but in the anime, right? Aren't they like the equivalent? Like, isn't Dark Magician?
I mean, they're like equal because like Dark Magician's Yugi's card, Blue Eyes is Kaiba's, so like they're kind of like, you know, they go back and forth.
But people like Blue Eyes way more.
Oh yeah, I would say Blue Eyes is way more popular for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, when you hear people say like, "Oh yeah, I remember Yu-Gi-Oh! I know the Blue Eyes White Dragon." They typically don't say the Dark Magician. They usually say the Blue Eyes White Dragon.
That is fair. I would agree with that.
So Super Rejuvenation, what do you think?
I'd have to see the rest of the package, but I think legitimate. It's like Pot of Greed. If not better, because you're probably drawing more cards more often than Pot of Greed, I'm going to assume. Because minimum you're getting 2. So it's like Pot of Greed at worst. I guess it could be a nothing card, but like, I mean, you're running so many ways of discarding dragons that it's probably going to be good enough. I'll have to, let me see what the payoff is though.
We'll put a pin in it. All right, here's your next one.
Gold Sarcophagus. Banish 1 card from your deck face up. During your from your deck? Interesting. During your second standby phase, after this card's activation, add that card to your hand. Whoa. That is a cool card.
Isn't it?
Wait, that is a sick card.
So fun fact, this was actually a prize card initially. I believe in 2006 or 7. Someone can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. So the only way to get this was to actually like win or top a tournament, essentially. They eventually reprinted it and in abundance. And during this time, it was already reprinted. So it wasn't like a $5 billion card or anything. But a lot of people like Gold Sarcophagus, yeah.
Wait, so just...
It also just looks really very Yu-Gi-Oh! With the art, too.
I would agree. The Millennium Eye or whatever it's called is pretty iconic. But it says during your second standby phase, right? So that means during your second standby phase after you play this card, not actually.
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
So you play the card.
Oh, right.
Then a full turn cycle goes around. That's your first standby phase or like upkeep. And then a full another cycle would go around. That's your second standby phase. So like 2 full turns have to go around after you play the card.
How good is this card? What a weird card. I'm trying to think of this.
Read the Dragon Rulers again.
No, I know, but okay, sorry. I'm thinking like in a vacuum specifically.
Oh, in a vacuum. Okay, sure.
I'm shocked this is the first time you've shown me this card.
I've still been holding out some good cards for you.
So like Hearthstone's draw is infinitely better. So we have Life Tap. Life Tap, I draw a card for 2. It depends on how expensive this card would be, but the fact you get to pick it from your deck is so
You get to pick the card. That's the big difference here.
And you show your opponent what card you're getting.
Yeah, they see it. It's not a hidden information. They know what you're getting.
One.
There's an old card actually called Different Dimension Capsule. It was basically the same effect, but the difference is it stayed on the field. It was a continuous card, so your opponent could actually destroy it potentially. But that card was face down, so your opponent actually didn't see what card you added. So it was interesting that we got, I guess, a better version of it, if you will.
I'm shocked. Like, I guess maybe in future Yu-Gi-Oh! This card's too slow, which kind of sounds intriguing. But that card's cool.
It's funny you say that. Okay.
Oh, really? Is it fast?
Yeah, you'll find out. You'll find out. I'll reveal everything.
2 turns. I don't think of like a Hearthstone if this card would legitimately be played. Did you guys have?
Yeah, if there was a card in Hearthstone that said like for 0 or 1 or 2 mana, you pick any card from your deck, and then in 2 turns it goes to your hand.
Well, I mean, if I played that in my opening hand, it'd be an auto include. Like if I got that opening hand, it'd be an auto.
If it was like a quest, like you always got it.
Yeah, like if it wasn't like as long as it's not an aggro card, like I think you'd be, or an aggro deck, you'd be more than happy to play a card like this, because a lot of the time it's like there's for example, like there's a deck called Odin Warrior, which was completely based around finding like the legendary Odin. If you didn't find it, your deck didn't operate. So like you need to find it immediately. If I got the opportunity to have it in my hand like every single game, like this card would be an auto include. So that seems really good. That's why I'm shocked, like especially in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like I haven't seen this card before. So that makes me believe that this card is insane. But the question is, what are you pulling? Like, is it card destruction? Are you happy with it? Or maybe you just want one of the dragons. Really cool card.
Well,
really cool card.
Why don't you read the third to last sentence on one of the dragons?
Third to last sentence on one of them. Okay. This card is banished. Can add 1 fire dragon type monster from your deck to your hand. So not only are you're gonna pull this card to your hand, you also get a fire dragon type monster or whatever the respective type is.
So it's basically a +1 delayed, if you will, because it's a 1 for 2, but you don't get the second card until 2 turns later.
You would draw. That's actually sick. That's sick. Damn, so you would run 3 copies of that in your... I mean, that card's gotta be fucking limited. That is insane. That is so strong.
Okay, so you're at Card Destruction Limited and you're at Gold Sark Limited at the current
Maybe
moment.
that's banned. That's a fucking super cool card. Like, that is...
Isn't it cool?
So many things you can do with that. Just try... Man, is that really... Is that... I mean, that interaction's stupid, but in general, is that a broken effect in Yu-Gi-Oh to get a card 2 turns later? Probably like in older Yu-Gi-Oh it was.
I will say, like, during older Yu-Gi-Oh, like, the games did last longer and there were more turns played compared to modern Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Cool card.
Let's show you a field spell.
Dragon Ravine. Is that dragons up there? I guess it is. Why are they so pointy?
Yeah, they're dragons.
They look so pointy.
The archetype, which you'll see in the effect, which is the effect that doesn't really matter as much because there's 2 effects on this. The dragons in that archetype are very pointy for some reason. I don't know why.
Once per turn, you can discard 1 card and then activate one of these effects. Add 1 level 4 or lower Dragoonity. Dragoon. That's a weird word. Is that an archetype, Dragoon?
It's an archetype, yeah. Okay. That's the pointy dragons.
Oh,
yeah.
So that's why they're like pointy, is because they probably have like a gun or something. Okay. I'm assuming. Let's just go with that. Monster from your deck to your hand, or send 1 dragon type monster from your deck to your graveyard. Okay, so in this context, you're picking the second one every single time.
Yeah, I'll give you this. Like, some of the decks did play this Dragoonity monster. You don't have to read it. It's basically, you can see it's pointy, so it's fitting.
Fuck.
But what matters here, similar to the Whitestone of Legend, this is a level 1 tuner. So there were instances where some decks would play this because they wanted to make a level 8 synchro. But for the most part, you are correct. They're using basically the second effect of the Dragon Ravine, for sure.
Okay, so am I happy to play a spell card, field card, right? That stays on the board.
So it stays out on the field unless someone interacts with it. It just stays out there.
To draw... I'm going to use quotations here to draw 1 card into my graveyard. Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. Why wouldn't I be happy to do that?
You think it's fine?
I'm trying to think of... So you played as what? Turn 1? When you get
You can do all this shit turn 1. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of like how much... Like, do you need to run 3 copies of this? Probably.
I will let you know there's also this card. I don't know if I've ever showed it to you before.
Yeah, you've shown me terraforming. Yeah,
I thought so. Okay,
so you're basically...
Just helping you out. So
now you have this on board. You're discarding a card that goes into your graveyard, and then you're also getting another card from your deck that's just drawing it and putting it to your graveyard, so you're allowed to get these dragons out earlier. That seems pretty good. On top of that, that makes Super Rejuvenation even better. So you're kind of really... You're like tripling down. That card is fucking stupid. What the hell? That's way better than everything else you've shown me so far, I think.
The Super Rejuvenation?
Yeah, that card is like like Hearthstone has this problem like currently in Wild, which is like with discard Warlock, where it feels like discarding shouldn't be that good, but when you have like a critical mass of like discarding, then it becomes a huge problem. And then you also fill your hand, which is, it's pretty good. Never run out of resources. The only reason it's so fresh in my mind is Hearthstone does these things every once in a while called like a heroic Brawliseum, which is like, I'm not gonna go through the semantics of what it is, but this time it's Wild, and you usually want to play the best decks because the entrance fee is quite a substantial amount. So I was going up against a lot of discard Warlocks, and like 30 card deck, they're probably done drawing their entire deck by turn 4. Kind of reminds me of that whole discard mechanic, which means Super Rejuvenation is like an even better card than I probably think it is, and so is Card Destruction. Card Destruction gets slightly worse if I'm already discarding a lot of the cards in my hand, but like it's just redundancy at that point. And if I've seen anything, like the reason why Tier Limit was so good is that you always paid out because of your redundancy. So if no other deck was matching the redundancy of this, all of these are good because you're here to just explode dragons onto the board before your opponent even has a chance to react. And even if they do have a chance to react, then you have like the effects of each individual dragon to do something. Is that banned? I feel like Dragon Ravine might be fine. I feel like terraforming is the problem, but I can't remember when the last time what happened to terraforming last time. Did you tell me this was banned?
I will tell you because you're not reading terraforming. Terraforming got limited at a point.
At a point. Okay, got limited. Not banned.
Basically, field spells started getting so good that they had to limit terraforming because it was like way too much consistency to get like these powerful field spell effects.
That means the field card on its own is really, really strong, which means Dragon Ring.
I didn't say when terraforming got hit, but it did technically get hit at some point.
Yeah, but I mean, Ravine objectively in this deck is very good. So it's
Okay.
not like that's the issue here. It's more like,
I mean, it's one of the best decks ever. So like, I mean, yeah, you're probably right. I think all these cards are pretty good.
we'll leave Ravine for now.
Okay.
Because I feel like
so we're
it's
still
not.
we're still at limited card destruction and gold sark. That's still where we're at.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's your next card.
Return from a different dimension. I believe you've also shown me this card before.
I think I have. Give it a
Half your life
refresher.
points. Special summon as many of your removed. Special summon as many of your removed from play monsters as possible. During the end phase, remove from play all monsters that were special summoned by this effect.
So as a reminder, this is an old card. Remove from play was before they coined banished as a term, so it's just a bit old.
Huh.
Yeah, interesting card, huh?
In other words, right? It re-banishes them. Correct? Is that how I would read that?
It re-summons all of them and then it re-banishes all of them.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah. So
But,
when they go back,
but it's
okay.
you wait till the end of the turn to do that.
Right, but if they get banished, for instance, right, the fire guy pulls another card from my deck.
Well, they all do.
Oh yeah, okay, fair. So, how am I banishing cards to begin with here?
How are you banishing cards to begin with? Maybe read the first line of text on one of the daddy rulers really quick.
Oh, this is a lot of information. Okay, you can banish. Oh, yes, so true. Basically, the way I'm reading it, they can attack the turn they're played as long as you're not going
Everything
first
has
turn.
haste.
But you wouldn't play this card first turn anyways because you would free fill the board. So this is like reassurance if your board gets deleted to have another onslaught of dragons on board. And then you could do this multiple. I mean, this card's fucked. Like this card, I think this card. This card's Hearthstone has this problem of like I deal with my opponent's board and then they just resummon it and I'm crying.
Oh, interesting.
So this is the same thing, but it's weird because your opponent doesn't even want to really interact with it because. So hold on. If my opponent destroys a monster that was summoned by this card, does it get banished at the end of the turn?
No, it goes back to the graveyard.
Is it still considered banished though?
Nope.
Okay, so it changes like its status as it's.
Yep. But you could. It's like hypothetically, you're bringing them back from the banish zone, and then if they get destroyed, they go to the graveyard. So you could hypothetically use them again for more material to summon more dragons.
Yeah, that's fucked. That card's probably banned. That is
Okay. So we're at
that's a
stupid
stupid card.
Card destruction and gold sark limited, and for banned we have return. Okay. All right. This is turning out to be interesting.
I would be shocked.
Let's
if
show you
told
some
me that's not
payoffs.
banned. Okay.
Let's show you some payoffs here, because I've been showing you all the cards of the main deck, and I think I basically constructed the whole deck for you. There was a couple other cards played, but they weren't as relevant to this. So we're gonna put this here, and let's show you some payoffs. Let's see if you remember what Xyz monsters do.
What the fuck is this? It's just a giant. Is this a plain dragon? What is this?
It's a giant plain dragon. Yeah.
Mecha Phantom Beast Dracosag. That sounds.
Dracosac.
Right.
Yeah. Either.
What the fuck? Okay. 2 level 7 monsters. All right, let me just scroll up here. The big dragons are level 7.
How convenient.
Okay. So that seems easy. Once per turn, you can detach 1 material from this card. Special summon 2 Mecha Phantom Beast tokens that are a machine win level 3 attack 0 and defense 0. While you control a token, this card cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Once per turn, you contribute 1 Mecha Phantom Beast monster. Then target 1 card on the field, destroy that target. This card cannot attack during the turn that you have activated this effect. And maybe it's relevant for the 2600 attack because
It's kind of big,
While you control a
all the
token.
dragons are big, but he's big too.
Well, this one, I think it matters a little bit more because it's like while you control a token, like you can't really destroy it, so it might matter a little bit more. So that seems pretty good. Once per turn means you can do it on your opponent's turn.
No, there's no quick effects, so it's only your turn. Like I said, remember, during this time, quick effects are not very common. It's basically relegated to quick effect spells like Super Rejuvenation, trap cards like Return.
Why did they do that? If the game was, I don't know how powerful the game was already, but like, why did they need to feel like they needed to add a bunch of quick effects on my opponent's turn?
Just power creep, I think, inevitably. Like right now, like one of the biggest issues is in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that every archetype is getting a card that on like turn 0, so like if you're going second, you can like special summon it to your field and start playing on the opponent's turn like Tear Element. So all of these new archetypes are getting at least one card that does that. So like the opponent can just like start playing even like when you're doing your stuff to try to like interrupt you. I think it's just like the game's 25 years old at this point. I think it's just like the evolution of power creep. That's
interesting.
I think that's just how the game ended up shifting.
The way Yu-Gi-Oh is now is like a cascading problem of like the second they allow my monster effects to be activated on my opponent's turn, that means every monster needs to be able to, because then that one monster is always going to be the strongest monster as long as the effect is decent enough.
Kind of. Like, the trade-off is it's like, if it's not a quick effect, it's usually a more powerful effect. I mean, it can still be powerful as a quick effect, too, obviously. But usually, like, the more powerful cards aren't quick effects, and then things that are still good, don't get me wrong, but maybe aren't as good are quick effects. And that's not the case for everything, but I want to say that's kind of like, you know, why the normal summon is so important, even though you only get one of it, because it's like, the normal summon can be, like, one of the best effects in your deck if it does resolve. And so that again, I think it's just sort of how the game has like philosophically shifted, and just like we're getting like Yu-Gi-Oh 2 era.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. No, it's just interesting. Okay.
It is interesting. Yeah, for sure.
This card seems good. I mean, I don't know what you want me to say here.
This card, for context, was released in the same set as the Dragon Rulers.
Does my opponent have time to do something when I use this effect?
Sure. Like when you activate the effect to summon the tokens for, you know, hypothetically.
Or the once per turn I can destroy a card on the field. Yeah.
So if you go like effect Draco Sack you tribute the monster. Well, let me see. Once per turn, yeah. So you tribute the Mecha Phantom Beast token and you target the card for cost. Your opponent then has the ability to respond to that in some way. Yes.
And just remind me, when I XYZ a monster, when the ID attached material, it goes to the graveyard?
Correct. It does.
Wow, it's almost like even if I use this card, I'm gonna get more dragons back.
Interesting. That's so interesting.
That's so great. I mean, that card seems pretty stupid. Okay. But is that the issue of this card or the I was talking about it. Was it like last episode or the episode before, how like XYZ monsters or your extra deck are just so fucked? Because it's like,
they're usually like your boss monsters of the deck, right? So that's why they're fucked, because
then it's like
they're meant to be.
In the context of like the game we're doing, like this meta game, it's so hard to be like, you can't limit it, so it's banned or it's not worth banning. Like there's no in between here. So it's like, is a card this strong in 2014 worth banning? I'm trying to think of what else you've shown me over the years.
That's a great question.
Is there more payoffs than this before I answer this question?
There is. Let's show you another one. There's another rank 7. I think I've shown you this before.
That does seem familiar. Number 11, Big Eye.
I think I showed you this when we actually did the Xyz monster video, if I recall.
Oh, yeah, I remember the text. Once per turn, you can detach one material from this card, then target one monster your opponent controls, take control of that monster. This card cannot attack the turn that this effect is activated. But you also stole your opponent's monster.
Yep. So hypothetically, if you're playing the mirror match, if your opponent summons a Draco Sack, you can summon a Big Eye and take their Draco Sack and use its effects.
Okay, I gotta think really big here. Hold on, I gotta think really big. Did this card get banned? God, I don't remember. Fuck, it's been so long.
You want to see another payoff?
Sure, hold on. I'm trying to think so big here.
Oh, you're thinking? Okay, I'll wait.
God, that effect is so stupid.
For context, they banned several cards with that effect already that were too good.
Okay, show me the other payoff and I want to have a conversation, but I think this card's fucked.
So here's a level 8 synchro that you can make with the White Stone or the Corseska, hypothetically.
Crimson Blader. Bladder? No, Blader.
Crimson Bladder.
Warrior synchro effect. Okay, one tuner plus one or more non-tuner monsters.
Yeah, so anything can make it.
If this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and such as the graveyard, your opponent cannot normal or special summon level 5 or higher monsters during their next turn.
So in the mirror match, if you left up something that Crimson Blader could run over, you kill it, and now they can't summon any of their daddy dragons their next turn.
What are the chances your opponent doesn't have like something to answer this card immediately? Probably unlikely at this point, but you have that card is really interesting. I feel like you would win more. I feel like if you got the attack off though, it's already over.
That's a fair assessment. Yeah, I'd agree.
So I don't know how bad this card truly is, but in some instances when you're counting removal, like maybe this gets to sneak its way to...
Remember, like I said, quick effects are not super common during this time. So keep that in mind.
I feel like the Big Eyes is better, but...
Okay, that's fair. There's nothing wrong with that.
You got to remind me with Big Eye, if I steal my opponent's card and it dies, it still goes to their graveyard, right?
Yeah, of course.
In this context, that's a little worse then, because I would like to steal my opponent's resources because the graveyard seems very good here.
But you're also like denying them from putting it into the graveyard because you're stealing it. So, I mean, there's also that argument.
Yeah, it's fair. It's also on your board. Yeah, it seems like a pretty good card. I'm not sure about Crimson Blader here. That's a tough one because I do think it's maybe like a slightly win more card. I can see why it's so good. But I'm iffy on that one. I don't think
you're not convinced. You're not convinced.
I don't think it's as spicy as the other ones, unfortunately.
Okay. All right. Let me show you one last card here. Let me show you. This isn't a payoff. This is just another card I haven't showed you yet.
Sacred Sword of 7 stars. Banish 1 level 7 monster from your hand or face-up field. Draw 2 cards. You can only activate this once per turn. Oh, okay. Well, that's just disgusting, though. Like, hello? in this deck, that's disgusting. Man, it's so like.
Why is it disgusting, Rarid?
Because if you banish one of the dragons, you get the card from your deck anyway. So
how convenient.
You're drawing 3 cards, and then it makes the other card better, whatever that thing's called, return from the different dimension. So you're just double downing on something that's not even a negative. These Yu-Gi-Oh designers act like banishing 1 level 7 monster is not that great. Wait, from your hand? Oh my god. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Okay. Man, drawing is... When drawing's good, it's so good in this game. Holy.
Isn't it? Isn't it?
Holy.
And look at all the cards you have in this deck to draw cards with.
Yeah, I mean, that's fucking stupid as hell. I'm not gonna lie to you. Is that the last?
This is all your
payoff?
cards. This is the last card. So you have to make your final decisions here before I go on my big long rant.
Let me go through my list here.
Yep. Start back at the top. Start back at the top.
Okay. Blaster. Okay, all the dragons individually just pull other cards from your deck. That makes the deck more redundant. If I ban any of these cards, I'd have to ban basically every single, maybe half of them to make the deck less consistent. But I feel like
they did that. Maybe they did that.
Really.
I'm just throwing it out there. It's not impossible for them to. They have the ability to.
I'm gonna come back to the dragon. I'm gonna come back from the dragons.
Okay.
I think the other cards. Okay. Card destruction. Let me really think of this, sir. I open this card.
Okay.
I discard my whole hand. I draw 4, but then I have the resources in my graveyard. The resources in my graveyard allow me to get more resources and or develop a board. It also works really well with Dragon Rejuvenation, which I also think is a huge problem in this deck, but we'll get there in a second. This card also lets me see what my opponent put into their graveyard. This card seems silly. In Yu-Gi-Oh's context, this card looks really good. In Hearthstone, it's not as good. But we see just from this archetype alone, it doesn't even have to be in a vacuum, how good it is to get stuff in your graveyard. So this card, I think, has to be affected. So
you said it was already limited.
Yeah, so I think limited's fair because then you have to make the conversation. Like, I don't think it's bad to have this card in the game necessarily. I might regret that, but that seems like it's like an okay. I think unlimited is fine. Okay, Super Rejuvenation. It depends on how they handle this because this card, like you said, before this archetype came out, wasn't very played, but if they ban some of the dragons, this card gets worse indirectly. Well, I guess directly, not even indirectly. Directly, because you need dragons for this card to be playable. Sure. So they either had to, does banning the dragons solve the issue of this card? If I have half the amount of dragons in my deck, how good is this card? It's still very good if I discard more than 1 card.
And to be fair, you could always play other dragons besides the ones that I showed you. Because dragons are one of the most represented types in all of you.
Okay, that card probably has to be limited as well, but hold on.
Gold Sark.
Okay.
Your favorite card of the bunch.
I think this card's cool.
You love this card. You love this card.
I think this card is just going to get, like... This card in a vacuum seems like it's so interesting. I don't think it would get touched for the sake of the dragons. But again, it comes down to whether or not they want to ban the dragons or limit the dragons. Then hit a card like this. If they hit the dragons, this card doesn't have to be touched. If they don't hit the dragons, this card is +1 every single time. It does not matter.
Yep.
And you get the additional effect of putting a card in your banish list.
Yep.
Or your banish zone, which is actually relevant in a deck like this. God, that card seems really good. Let me come back to this one. That card's tough. Dragon Ravine's interesting. I don't think Dragon Ravine is necessarily as bad, especially if they're gonna hit terraforming. If they hit terraforming, Dragon Ravine is probably fine. If they don't hit terraforming, then we have a problem because then what you would do is
I'll let you know terraforming was unlimited during this time.
Okay, so that means if I'm a deck builder, am I running more than 1 copy of Ravine? Because if I'm running terraforming, which I think is the better card, I'd rather have the card to get the card than have multiple versions of the card. I think you would only run one copy to begin with if Terraforming's unlimited. I don't think there's I'm trying to think if there's any reason I would want to run more than one copy. Maybe
your opponent destroys it.
Yeah, that's the only thing. But even then, like if they're using a resource for that, and I already got the one effect for it, I think as long as you do it once, like you're probably happy. And you drew a card with Terraforming, so it's one extra card anyways.
Sure. So deck fading a little bit. Sure.
It's like I don't think you would want to run more than one copy if Terraforming's in play. So I think that's fine. So I think it was okay. I don't know if you want me to rate Terraforming, but if it was at
no, you don't have to. No, you have to rate Terraforming.
Okay,
Return for the different dimensions. There.
And that shit's hella stupid.
Okay.
That card's not allowed. I think that card. I think I had the same reaction when you showed it to me last time.
Probably.
It seems
probably. It's good that you still had the same reaction when I showed it to you a second time.
Okay, it seems stupid. It seems dumb. I don't know why they would make a card like that. That seems very stupid.
Draco Sack.
The big payoffs. Again, it comes down to the situation of if I am in the extra deck, I have to either ban it or I have to just leave it alone. Am I thinking?
Or if you ban the dragons, then you can't summon the Draco Sack. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but if there's no way they ban all dragons. There's just no way. There's no way. I wouldn't believe that. Are you gonna tell me the story was there's no other way than just banning all 4 big dragons and the deck just didn't exist anymore?
You'll find out momentarily.
I feel like that's unsatisfying. I feel like that's very unsatisfying if that's the case. But even then, it's like 2 level 7 monsters seems like in Yu-Gi-Oh, depending on the deck, like it couldn't be that, like in other decks, this is playable. So it's not like this is...
I will say during this time, this was like the best deck to be playing that card, though. Like, yes, other decks could play it, but this was by far and away the best deck because you had so many ways to get 7s on the field to make it.
Yeah, but again, is that like that feels like it's the deck fault, not the actual card's fault?
Oh, that's fair. I'm just presenting an argument. That's
fair. That's fair. I think that one's fine. Okay, let me think. Let me make it big eye. I think this motherfucker was banned. I can't remember.
This is the best part is I'm re-showing you cards, so it's like a skill check to see if you remember.
I think it's I'm gonna have banned.
Okay, so big eye banned.
I think the card is really stupid. I'm not sure about Crimson Blader. Like, I mean, it's so wishy-washy because I think the card is really, really good, but in the same instance, it has the chance of just doing literally nothing because you already won the game.
It's in your extra deck, so it's in your extra deck. So like, it's like you can use it when you want to.
That's fair. Sacred Sword of the 7 starts. So this is also interesting because now it's like if you ban Rejuvenation, this card also does the exact same thing in terms of draw. So you're just running redundancy.
I mean, Rejuvenation has a much higher ceiling, but sure. Okay.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, you're still drawing 3 cards, though.
Yeah, but I mean, Rejuve can draw you like 1 million. So, like, that's the trade-off, right? But it can either draw you 1 million or none, right? Because it depends on how many dragons you discard or attributed.
I'm just trying to think of, like, in a vacuum. Because I don't know how much Konami, when they, like, do bans and stuff. Like, if I'm looking at... if I'm looking at Sacred Sword here, if this card's not good in any other deck besides this one, am I really going to, like, ban it or eliminate it? Like,
I will say... this was probably the best deck that played this card. Maybe one of the only few that did. But I don't think that necessarily means they wouldn't hit it. I can't read Konami's fucking mind, so don't ask me. Okay, we don't even get explanations for why they ban cards for context, okay? So, like, good luck.
Okay, I think we're going to go with limited then.
Limited on the Sacred Sword. Okay.
So that brings me back to Gold Sarcophagus and Rejuvenation. I don't think Gold Sarcophagus... Oh my God, Gold Sarcophagus in the context of Yu-Gi-Oh, though, sounds so good.
Remember, we go by if it was ever banned.
Okay. So. I'm trying to think of myself. Why wouldn't you have shown me a card like this before? Like, surely...
Because I have to save some cards for videos 40 years later.
Yeah, but that sounds like you're baiting me. That card
I can't spoil everything in the first, like, 2 videos. I got to save some of the good cards for later.
And listen, I respect it. I respect that. But I still think that this card is so good that I'm shocked you haven't shown it to me. In the context of what Yu-Gi-Oh is, pulling a card from my deck when you guys are like craving for card draw seems like it's too good not to show. And also, why, like, a lot of other decks would want a card like this. It just seems good. So if that's the case, like, am I gonna ban a card like this? Maybe. It's an interesting thought. God, it's such a, like, in Hearthstone, like I've said, the example I have is like that would be a very scary card. They would have to print it in such a way that you're taking such a tempo loss that you would want to play a card like that.
Remember, your games go longer, though, to be fair.
So in Hearthstone, there's a card that's a 5-mana 3/3 with a death rattle. Draw the highest cost minion in your deck. That card is sometimes used just to draw for consistency to find something. But would I rather play a spell that draws me a card 2 turns later that doesn't have any board presence? If it was the same cost, no, I'd rather have the 5-mana 3/3, even at the cost of being silenced. I could see it. 3 mana definitely, 2 mana for sure. That's so tough. That's such a cool card. I mean, I could see.
It's funny you like this card so much. I wasn't expecting that.
I would say limited because I feel like if you don't draw this card in the first couple of turns, it might be too slow. But okay, that brings me to Rejuvenation. So the problem with Rejuvenation is if they ended up banning the dragons, then this card gets significantly worse.
You don't think they were going to ban the dragons, though?
Yeah, I'm going over the whole. This is just like last video because I was going over the context that they would ban one card rather than the other. But I can't.
That's what I think's so funny about doing these types of videos is that like if you have like one wrong guess, it could like influence all your other guesses.
Dude, it's like doing a math test and you get the first part of the question wrong and then therefore you get all the other ones wrong. I hated that shit. It was so annoying. But in this case, it's like you can't wishy-washy this. Like you kind of have to just believe that one of the paths is correct.
Okay.
So
it's like the meme of the two like crossroads, like the fork in the road.
Yeah, like because if you go wishy-washy here, then it's like you could say that everything is going to get like limited, but that's not. Obviously, they're not going to do that. That seems really silly. So Super Rejuvenation has the potential chance to be like insanely high stealing. It also has the chance to do nothing, but in the right deck, it's very good. If I banned the dragons, like if I banned every single other dragon in this deck, is this card playable? Probably not. But they also don't want to ban every dragon, I'd imagine, especially if it's a new art. Can I ask you how long it took them to ban?
No, because you don't even know if they're banned or not.
Sorry. How long until the next ban limited wave?
So typically we get ban lists every 3 months.
And they don't ever like fast track that shit if something's wrong.
They sometimes do because like if there's like an emergency ban list they have to do. They've done that a few times. Now they don't say when they're gonna give us the ban list. It's completely fucking random, so it's great. Because people would just like message Konami, be like, "Where's the fucking ban list?" And they were sick of it, so they're like, "Okay, now we're not going to tell you when the ban list comes out."
That's fair.
Because if it didn't, they would say like, "Oh, the ban list will come out January 1st, 20 whatever," and then it wouldn't come out January 1st, so everyone would just bombard Konami, and be like, "Where's the fucking ban list?" And then they would release it like a week later, even though they said they would release it on January 1st. So they're just like, "Okay, you bunch of whiny babies, you're not going to get the date now, so now you can't message us because you don't know when it's going to come out."
Okay, fair enough.
That's how our company handles it. Yeah,
interesting.
Great.
I mean, I don't blame them on that one per se, because I'd be kind of annoyed if people were just DMing like the Twitter or whatever, yelling at us.
Then why say you're going to release the list on a day you don't release it?
That's fair. That's fair. That I'm
just saying. I'm just making a point. I mean, if they actually did it, then they would avoid. They could solve the problem themselves anyway. I'm already getting fucking pissed. All right. So what do you think? You can tell there's 20 years of like resentment and hatred in my voice with that one.
I'm going to go under the context here that they're not banning the dragons. Now, again, if this is just the case, it is what it is. But I will say if they don't ban the dragons, then this card has to be touched because it's too strong, which means it probably has to be banned. Limited's probably fine, but I feel like, well, limited would be fine if they don't have enough draw, but you have so much draw from the dragons that I feel like they wouldn't want this in the deck anymore. So I would say banned. I feel like, before you start speaking to me, because I think the dragons are fine. I'm going to leave the dragons here.
Okay.
If you start this story off with, yeah, they have to ban half the dragons because they were too good, I'm just going to end the
So, okay. All right. So I have for your final list, if I scroll down here, you think Card Destruction, Gold Sark, and Sacred Sword were all limited, and you think Return and Big Eye were banned, and that's all you got.
Yes. Can I just preface this part for one second? I feel like if they're gonna ban something, it's gonna be the actual tiny dragons, not the big dragons. But we'll go with
Interesting. But you don't feel confident enough to put that as one of your answers.
I just feel like listen, if I'm a game designer, and I'm not, but if I was, I would not want to ban everything to make the deck not functional. I wouldn't want to do that. I would rather take more time to figure out like how to make the deck less powerful but still be an actual playable deck, which is a very difficult task.
the Dragon Rulers got hit in multiple waves, as a matter of fact. It took them several hits to be able to rein in the power level of this deck because, again, I've shown you tier, so you're kind of like ruined in terms of like how good like a deck can be in Yu-Gi-Oh! But like, if you think about this in the context of like imagine like playing Legacy of the Duelist, right? And then like this is like the next deck that comes out. Like, this is, like, you have to think about this in the context of, like, how, like, much power creep this deck had compared to, like, retro Yu-Gi-Oh! Comparatively. So, let's start with the babies, since you mentioned the babies. The babies were actually one of the first cards banned in this deck. They banned all 4 of the babies. So, they banned Burner, Stream, Lightning, and Pebble, I don't know what the fuck, Reactin, I think is the Earth one. I don't remember.
The allergy pill?
Yeah. So the first iteration of this deck was called Baby Rulers because it played the Baby Dragon Rulers as well. They apparently were very good, and so those actually ended up getting banned, as a matter of fact. You talk about the Daddy Dragon Rulers. I'm not going to go in like the waves of like when they banned each cards because it's like that would just get all over the place. So we're just going to talk about them in a vacuum. The Daddy Dragon Rulers. These cards were also way ahead of their time comparatively. And they were just super flexible because, like I said, you could play them in other decks as well. But they were mainly all played together for obvious reasons because they all synergize with one another. All the Daddy Rulers got limited at first, and then they banned all the Dragon Rulers as well. Okay. Would you like to end your call?
Continue. I'm just seeing.
Okay, sure. Card Destruction. Card Destruction was actually played in Terra Limit, as a matter of fact. But Card Destruction was actually banned as well at one point during this time. Card Destruction, funny enough, Card Destruction is actually one of the first cards printed in the game. It's in the Yugi starter deck, I want to say. So initially when Card Destruction was printed, it wasn't very good because there wasn't like any payoff really to like play Card Destruction. So the card was fine. But then when they started printing more broken archetypes that worked from the graveyard, Card Destruction instantly became this like 1 card plus a billion because not only do you get to refresh your hand, but everything that gets sent to the graveyard has some effect that triggers and you would just like win the game on the spot. So Card Destruction was banned for a time. It's, I believe, limited now? I think it's still limited. Let me see. Yeah, it's still limited to 1 copy. So, like, hypothetically, if, like, you want to still play Terra Element with Card Destruction, you can. And it was a very good card in that deck as well as the Dragon Rulers. Super Rejuvenation was also banned because this card is fucking stupid, and it's a very old card that they just basically didn't account for, I guess, or whatever. Being able to go like +6 off of this card because it's not hard for you to like discard a bunch of dragons and then get more dragons and then discard more dragons. There's no issue with that. One thing you may have missed with Super Rejuvenation is that there's no once per turn on this card. So hypothetically, you can go to your end phase, activate Super Rejuvenation, draw 6 cards, and then if you draw another Super Rejuvenation, it's a quick play spell, activate Super Rejuvenation, draw another 6 cards, and if you draw the 3rd Super Rejuvenation, you can activate that and draw another 6 cards. So now you have a 17-card hand, and you discard down to hand size, so you have to go down to 6, so you basically just put 11 dragons into your graveyard, and now you have infinite fodder for the next turn. Gold Sarcophagus, your favorite card out of the bunch. This card is very interesting. So like I said, it started off as a prize card, so it was very hard for people to get a hold of. Then they eventually reprinted it, and it was very sought after, as a matter of fact. If you play Edison format, they will play decks with Gold Sarcophagus. I believe it is semi-limited in that format, so you can actually play with this card. But it never got banned. At worst, it got limited, and you might, I don't know if you'll believe this or not, this card actually still sees modern play because similar to the interaction that you figured out with the Dragon Rulers, that if you banish a Dragon Ruler, it just gets you a card. There are plenty of archetypes that are now printed in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where if you banish that card from your deck directly, it has some effect that triggers. So, like, one of the most popular decks right now, Malice, anytime they're banished, they get to special summon themselves out to the field. So Gold Sarcophagus can just get one from your deck for free, and then you just, the one you want to, the best one, and then you just get to special summon it out to your field. So Gold Sarcophagus has actually aged very well, and it's kind of been all over the ban list. Like, it's been semi-limited, it's been limited, so it's been back to 3, and then they, like, re-limit it. It really just depends on, like, how the format looks. Currently, it's still limited to 1 copy, because it's actually very good in several decks. So that one you got right. Congratulations. That's the first one you got correct so far.
Thank you.
Dragon Ravine also got banned.
Really?
Yes, as a matter of fact. This one is interesting. This one, I think, got banned in the second or third wave of bannings for this deck. Let me double check since I have this pulled up here. Dragon Ravine. It was banned in 2014 January. So yeah, that was like towards the tail end of the Dragon Ruler format. Just a very, it sends any of the dragons to the graveyard. It just like helps fuel you. If it sticks on the field too, you just are going to get so far ahead because you just get to send another resource to the graveyard. You get to pitch something to the graveyard as well. So you got like trigger effects there. Very strong card, got banned for, I want to say a year, and then it slowly came off the ban list, and it's at 3 copies now because no one plays it. But back in the day, Dragon Review is a very, very good card. Return from the Different Dimension was also banned. You are correct on that one. This card's fucking stupid. You can play this card in Edison, and in Edison, it is also broken as fuck, but it's fun to play with, so that's like the fun part. This card's fucking nuts. This deck was so heavily easily able to just banish cards to summon the dragons that basically a lot of the games would kind of play out if you have return. Like turn 1, you maybe set up like a Draco Sack and just like defend yourself. And then next turn you flip return from the different dimension, summon all your dragons and just kill them. Because I know you don't look at the stats of cards. The Dragon Rulers are all big. Like Blaster's 2,800, Tempest is 24, Title's 26, and Redox is the smallest. But it doesn't matter because you just summon all of them and just fucking just go face to your opponent and just kill them. So return obviously is banned. This card's never going to get unbanned. That card's way too fucking good. Then we have the extra deck cards. So Draco Sack. This card was also released in the same set as the Dragon Rulers. This was like the payoff. This might shock you. This card was like $150 to $200 a copy because it was like the rarest card in the set. And it was, you needed multiple of them in the Dragon Ruler deck. And it was just a very good, this like back in the day was like one of the best cards in like the game. Draco Sack was just so good because it was so resilient. If you have the tokens up, it can't die by battle or card effects. And then each turn you just tribute a token to pop a card. That sounds very dumb, but back in the day that was very good. And also it was a once per turn, I believe, a hard once per turn. So hypothetically, if you have multiple Draco Sacks, you can sacrifice multiple tokens and just pop multiple things. And also Draco Sack's big. So like I said, you can just sit on a Draco Sack turn 1. And if your opponent doesn't like do a lot, you can just, you know, summon a bunch of Dragon Rulers and just fucking kill them, right? So that was totally, like, opening, like, with a Draco Sack on your first turn was typically the play. Big Eye was sort of the counter to that, because, like, if your opponent just has a Draco Sack, if you have a way to Big Eye their Draco Sack, you can use its effect, detach, summon 2 of your own tokens, and pop one of your opponent's cards. So that was something you had to play around. But this card, both of these cards, excuse me, never got touched. Draco Sack was totally fine, because if they ban the Dragon Rulers, you can't summon Draco Sack or Big Eye. So that was like kind of like the thinking there, I'm assuming. Crimson Blader was also fine, just an answer to the mirror match specifically. If your opponent summoned Crimson Blader and ran over one of your guys, you probably lost the game because you can't summon any of your dragons anymore. So very nail in the coffin type of card, but very strong nonetheless. And Sacred Sword of 7 Stars, your final card, was limited. You got it correct, as a matter of fact. So this card was also just way too good when the Dragon Rulers were still legal, because it always was just a guaranteed +1 because you draw 2 new cards and you get to banish a Dragon Ruler for free, which then triggers it to search for any other dragon you want. Again, this card's legal and like Pot of Greed is banned, right? So it's they had to do something about it. So they limited it, and it's at 3 now because like no deck's playing it, but it was limited for a short time. So you got a few of them right. You got a few of them right. How you feel now that I went on my big long story?
I regret, despair. We'll get them next time.
When you said there's no way they would ban the dragons, I was just laughing so hard and like silently, because it's like they did. The problem was, we're talking about this in a vacuum, but like these cards were so prolific for like years. It was like there's the baby Dragon Ruler phase, there's the like Ravine Dragon Ruler phase, there's like Hieratic Dragon Ruler. Like so many decks just took advantage of how powerful these cards were that like it was all everyone was doing for the most part. And Konami, I think, was just like sick of these cards being in the game, and like after like 2 years people were still playing Dragon Rulers essentially. So I think they just kind of wanted to like move on and be like, hey, buy our new cards, right? Like, so funny enough, the Dragon Rulers are actually getting, or got, I can't remember, new support. They made light and dark Dragon Rulers to pair with the rest of these, which is quite fun.
Wait, are these guys, are they on ban now, or are they?
So Blaster is now back at 3. He only went back to 3 this most recent ban list, if you can believe that. Actually, no, this only goes to 2024. So he's been legal for all of 2025 at 3. The babies, I believe, are all back at 3. Lightning is the baby, sorry. Redox is back at 3. Tempest is back at 3. And Tidal is back at 3. They put them all back to 3 on the 2024 ban list in December. But I think it's because they were releasing new Dragon Ruler support. So you can't release new support for an archetype that's banned. So they slowly brought them off the list. No one played them because they're just severely outdated at this point. Also, this was like during like Kashtira format when the best card in the deck banishes every card that goes to the graveyard. So the Dragon Rulers just all fucking lose to that. And so now that there's new support coming out, or that did get released, I forget which, they kind of have to bring the cards back. And so they did, and I don't think they do anything because Dragon Rulers are just kind of outdated at this point. So, but a very prominent part of Yu-Gi-Oh's history, like anyone who played Yu-Gi-Oh during this time remembers these cards. The mirror match is also considered to be one of the most skillful mirror matches in the entire game. So it was something that a lot of like the pro players liked. They were also very low rarity, which is interesting. Typically, like a lot of people thought these were going to be like the highest rarity possible, but the Dragon Rules were all rares, which is the lowest rarity besides common. So it was actually very easy to acquire these cards as well and play them in, you know, either the deck they're meant to be played in or any of your other decks that are attribute focused, like fire, wind, water, earth, or whatever. So they were highly accessible as well, which was nice because people weren't expecting that.
Oh my god.
You okay?
Yeah, no, I'll be all right. I'll make it through these dark, difficult days, like every Yu-Gi-Oh video. Well, I mean, surely I'll get the next one, right? I'm sure all the comments are always like, damn, Baron's so
surely,
close.
right? Surely.
Oh my god. Well, thanks for the history lesson. I had so much fun.
How do you feel about this versus like Tier Element? You know, it's just like, it's nothing, just like compare because I showed,
yeah, no, it's not even close. I mean,
it's not.
This is, I think, again, like it is really the comparison of, man, I'm doing all this shit on my opponent's turn and I'm still winning the game. It's just unrivaled. So
yeah, and that was a big thing because, like I said, there was only really like a couple hand traps that got played during this time. It was like Effect Veiler and Maxi, and that was like kind of it. And so, yeah, it was definitely a different era in Yu-Gi-Oh for sure. And like I said, it's interesting that with this amount of power, you thought the game would only continue to power creep like further and further. But right after this, they actually just like reset the entire format with the ban list of hitting all the like rulers and everything. And it actually made for one of like the slower formats in Yu-Gi-Oh, which we haven't seen in like decades. But it actually made for like a very slow, control-y format known as hat format, as a matter of fact. And yeah, it was weird because no one would think that would be the case. But Konami obviously has the ability to pump the brake if they want to. But here we are.
They want to make
here
money.
we are.
Is Time Wizard banned like right now?
Like the card Time Wizard?
The card, yeah.
No.
The card.
Why?
That card unplayable.
Why would they ban a board wipe that's a 50-50 that if you lose, it wipes your own board?
I'm just curious. I don't know. I just wanted to know. Why you just
That's such
like
a
that?
random question. Where did that come from?
I know. I've been thinking about that card.
Do you
recently.
like Time Wizard?
I mean, I don't know if you watch me play.
Legacy of the Duelist. I saw you had some good luck with that card.
That card saved my life multiple times. I was just curious. That card's fun. Okay, sorry. That was just a random ass question I was thinking about.
So guys, that's going to wrap it up for another video. I really hope you all enjoyed. Let's go ahead and shout the patrons for all their continued support. So shouts to Shout1317, Tim00x3, MBT Play Medolce, Moto, Cameron L. Smith, The Synchro Guy, Pony Stark, Dan the Man Hoban, Little Fadeleaf, Draconic, Brian Dancer of Class 7, Dylan Rare Hunter, JW11860, Flannel Daddy, literally all of the guinea pigs, Cheeks McLapperty, Stolfin Amethyst, MBT canceled by community soon, canceled by all committees soon, canceled by all players soon, Wonder Waffle, MBT and Nimnims 1, Boxer Brief, Fueled Night of Passion, Daniel Howell, Electrician of the Ice Barrier, Arco, and the Nova 129. Thank you again so much for watching, and we will see you next time.